Hey, what's up, guys? James and Cuervo from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining us on another video, another adventure. We are camping in the beautiful mountains of New Mexico, taking a break from the desert and enjoying the woodlands. Check that out behind us. It is a little windy, but other than that, we can't complain. We've eaten some really good food. We're drinking a couple of cold ones. And we're just going to relax around the campfire. So we did ask you guys to send us some questions so we can film a Q&A video. Now, we did get a lot of really interesting questions, and we also got a lot of redundant questions that we've already answered in previous videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place up here the playlist to our past Q&A so you can check those out, because there's a good chance we answered your question already. So we're just going to focus on some of the newer ones. So pull up a chair, grab yourself a drink, and let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. We're only going to answer about 10 questions so it doesn't drag on too much. This one's an interesting one, not really related to bushcraft or the outdoors. This one comes from our buddy Leo from Irish Zombie Nation YouTube channel. And he asks, this question is for both of you. Who was your first celebrity crush and why was it that person? My first celebrity crush, I must have been about 9 or 10, was the actress Julianne Moore. She came out in Jurassic Park: The Lost World, which was the second Jurassic Park movie. For those of you who don't know, I happen to be a massive Jurassic Park fan. I was, obsessed with it as a child. And, of course, I went to see that movie because I wanted to see the dinosaurs eating people. And, but I noticed more than the dinosaurs. I found her very pretty, and that was like my first crush. And it's weird because the character that she plays in that movie, Dr. Sarah Harding, I feel like that subconsciously influenced me to what would be my type of woman that I would be attracted to now as a grown adult. So Dr. Sarah Harding in the movie, she's intellectual, she can have, she's a scientist, right? But at the same time, she's out there surviving in the mud and the jungles and fighting off raptors. And I like that. So I tend to be attracted to women that are very sophisticated and intelligent, but at the same time, if they got to rough it out in the wilderness in a survival situation and they can kick some ass, that's just a bonus for me. So Julianne Moore, to this day, she's like 70 and I still find her very attractive. Julianne Moore, if you're watching, message me. We'll make it work. You can move in with me and my cats, and it'll be great.
So, for me, I'd have to go with Téa Leoni. I first saw her when I watched the Bad Boys movie with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And, I don't know, just something about those, I think they're green eyes or blue eyes. And the pasty skin and the dark hair, the dark clothing. That's where it's at. And that's it.
Question number 2 comes from Instagram by somebody called MJ in the USA. And this is a very interesting question. He asks, if you had to choose only one, would you rather be only nominated for an Academy Award for editing or be the winner of the show alone? For Cuervo, the choices would be for being the winner of Alone or nominated for a Grammy Award for Best American Roots Performance. Keep in mind the winner of Alone is also guaranteed $500,000. As much as I am a storyteller and I take pride in piecing together stories and all that stuff, I would rather win Alone and get that sweet money. That'd be in the adventure of a lifetime, and I would get to prove myself, in a survival situation. Now, I have been approached already by the producers of Alone. I just don't feel like I'm ready because I'm a desert dweller and I get cold easily. If you watched all my videos, I get cold very fast. So I feel like I need more training before they send me up somewhere cold like Vancouver Island. But I much rather win that than be nominated for something. Once you have the money, that opens up the doors to more equipment, a team, all that stuff where I can start filming short films and music videos and stuff like that. So that financial freedom I'd much rather have, personally. What about you, Cuervo?
Well, in the essence of life or death, I would have to go with life. Nominated for the performance. it's something I think I would be more proud to be part of and recognized for, I guess. And maybe go down in history. Money fades and so does fame, I guess, but the music never will.
Well, you heard it here first. If he wins alone, he doesn't want the money, so he can give it to me. And then Julianne Moore and I will be set for life. Okay, so question number 3 and 4, I'm going to kind of bunch them in together because they're very similar. So O2 Carlos asks, how should one pack for camping night so they don't bring the whole house outdoors or bring too little? I can never find that sweet spot. I would just say it's all about practice. It's all about practice and do your research beforehand. We are so blessed in our modern day with technology, with the internet, where we're able to tell the forecast. Are you expecting rain, snow? We have such advanced gear with knives and flashlights and all this stuff. So, if you know ahead of time that you're expecting snow or you're expecting winds or whatever, it's going to help you kind of choose your gear. And I would just suggest, start off pretty heavy. Start off, having being prepared. And as you start doing it over and over, you realize that maybe you didn't need this one item that you've taken 3 times and never once used it. Or, this item isn't needed during the summer months as much as, during the winter months. So it's just all about practice and your skill level. And the more you do it, the more you're going to realize what works for you or not. I wish I could be a little bit more elaborate, but I mean, every situation's different. Okay, and then for question number 4 comes from Rhett Nova, who asks, what are your main changes in gear as the weather changes over in spring? The main change is obviously your coat. Just like animals that lose their winter fur, they're staying warmer during the cold months. As the summer months come, they shed, same thing. So this wool coat that you see me wearing, you're not going to be seeing it in a month from now. I have a wool bandana. It's in my tent right now because it wasn't that cold earlier. You're not going to see that during the summer months as opposed to cotton bandanas. So I'm losing that winter fur to stay warm. Because of that, also, I'm carrying less because I'm less concealable. Without my coat, it's more obvious that I'm rocking more things, right? So you just start carrying less and you try to kind of focus on comfort. So it's mainly the winter garb, the coats and the gloves and all that stuff. Gloves that I always carry, I'm going to lose those. And of course you lose pockets to carry extra redundancies like extra lighters and stuff. I'm being attacked right now by the smoke. Question number 5 comes from Stephen Moss Jr., who asks, have you all seen or heard something that's unexplainable while camping? I haven't had anything particularly frightening myself, though I have had 2 situations that we could not explain. One was never explained, and 2, I experienced with him, and people did not believe us until years later when it came out on the news, and we were like, I told you, we saw that. Hold the phone. So the first time that I ever camped by myself, when I was first getting into all this bushcraft stuff, was in 2013, and I was a newbie at the time, and I had my equipment in my vehicle, all this rinky-dink stuff from the thrift store, and I had a day job at the time, and I had to work. I remember it was a Sunday, and I was like, as soon as I'm out of work, I'm just going to drive directly to this one location in the desert, and I'm going to spend the night, make a fire, cook dinner, so on. Well, while I'm at work, you could see through the windows that storm clouds are rolling in, and soon, before you know it, you can hear thunder, and I'm trying to hurry up and get out of there so I could get there before it starts pouring. I finally managed to clock out. I started driving. I had a Saturn at the time. The Saturn, of course, wouldn't be able to make it through the dirt road, so I had to stop, and then carry my gear and make the rest of the journey to my spot. Sorry, the smoke's in my eyes. To my undisclosed location. Well, halfway walking over there, it starts pouring, and I get soaked, and all my gear gets soaked. And, I tried to make a fire when I got to my location with the ferro rod. I was a newbie at the time. I couldn't get a fire going. And then, my tarp was wet, my blanket was wet. So I just ate, like, I believe it was ravioli that I just ate straight out of the can. I couldn't heat it up because I had no fire. And I rolled myself up like a burrito in a tarp. And I just kind of closed the end so there's no sand in my face because it was really gusty sandstorms after the rain. So while I'm asleep, I could hear movement in my campsite, and it must have been 2 in the morning. You know, it's complete utter darkness out there, and I open my little burrito opening, and there's a dog there. I shine a flashlight, and there's a very large dog, like its eyes are reflecting back, and he's rummaging through my garbage. And I was like, is that a wolf? Is that a coyote? But it looked like a very large German Shepherd. And I was like, is this thing gonna attack me? You know, but I was so exhausted. I mean, it was just like this otherworldly experience. It felt like I was in a different planet just because the nighttime, you know, the clouds look purple and it's just sandy storms. So I went back to sleep. I was exhausted. I was shivering. And in the morning I woke up and I thought I dreamt it. But I looked out and my garbage was everywhere and there was paw prints from the mud, from all the rain. So that animal was there. There was a random, very large dog living in the desert. And I don't know, it was kind of very eerie. Sorry about that. We did have to change our location away from the fire because we were just getting destroyed by the smoke. Anyways, the second weird thing that I experienced with Cuervo back during the early days of Junkyard Fox. We had made a review. We filmed a review for the Moroccansville video, and we were in New Mexico, very similar area. It was a woodland area, and we had just finished. We wrapped up, and we're getting ready to just pack up and head back home because we're about 3 hours away from where we live. So it's about dusk. It's a little lower. The light is a little lower than it is now, and Cuervo, I recall, I'm looking at Cuervo, and he kneels down to tie his shoes, and I look past him, and, you know, off in the distance, I see a large cat jump down from a pine tree and run across a field, like run across a grassy field, and I know cats. I owned 3 cats, you know, so I know what a domestic cat looks like. I have run across bobcats and stuff like that. This was not any of those things. Now, I'm not saying that it was like a leopard or anything like that, but it was a larger cat than usual, and it did not have the body shape of like a bobcat who's stockier with the stubby tail. This was a long thing, but it was definitely feline. So I tell Cuervo, like, dude, check it out behind you. And he turns around and he catches a glimpse of it, and this animal takes off running. Now, we couldn't comprehend what it was. You know, I'm well versed in what the animals are here, the fauna in this region. Nothing we've ever heard about. You know, so that was kind of weird. About 3 years later, it came out in the news that a species of cat from South America called a Jaguarundi had now been seen in New Mexico. So there we have a wild population of Jaguarundis that have started living here. And that's insane. Like, it was like 3 years later, and I had to, you know, tell this guy, like, dude, check out this article. That's what we saw. And, you know, of course, it wasn't anything frightening per se, but it was just something unexplainable. And it took years, you know, for us to be justified, like, were we seeing things, you know? So that was kind of cool. All right, so question number 6, and now we're being attacked by the smoke again. But Sean McCormick asks, okay, be honest, what's the worst catch and cook meal you have ever ate? That one's easy, Sean. Rock squirrel. Rock squirrel is the desert species. It's something like a ground squirrel, larger, kind of like a prairie dog. And it is very disgusting. The meat is extremely rubbery. It's very tough. I mean, it feels like you're biting into a tire. It doesn't matter how much you season it. You're going to break your teeth trying to eat that thing. I'm sure if you stewed it for about 7 hours, you know, it'd be palatable, but just as a straight up catch and cook, you know, I hunted it, I gonna, you know, skin it and put it over the fire. Easily the worst one. Would you agree, Cuervo? Rock squirrel. Question number 7 comes from Neville Savage 2012. He asks, have either of you been interested in going on any big game hunts? We actually did go on a big game hunt. I mean, if you consider deer big game. We went hunting deer in, I forgot where in Texas, about 7 hours away from where we live. We went about 2 months ago. It was very fun. We didn't film anything. Sadly, we weren't successful in hunting, but it was just a learning experience. And we are planning to go again sometime in June or July. It's to either hunt axis deer or wild boar, and that would be really awesome. But yeah, it's a gamble. It's a lot of luck involved. So we weren't successful our first time, but we hope to go again this summer. Question number 7 comes from Animas Anasazi. Once again, this wind is picking up, so I'm trying to protect the mic. Howdy there, fellers. What advice would you give to a small channel trying to get traction? Hope the weather ain't too windy for you all this evening. Have a good one. Very windy. We let you down, buddy. Anyways, advice to give a small channel trying to get traction is make good content. Now, I know that sounds very standoffish and, pretentious, but I've seen this my whole life, ever since, I was in high school and I had friends that were making punk bands. Now I see a lot of people trying to start podcasts, and they're not focused. They don't know what they're going to talk about. They don't know what subjects are. I see a lot of people trying to already, get to the glory part of it. Sponsorships, free gear, selling merch. Guys, make good stuff first so people know if they like you or not. I recently had an acquaintance on Facebook started a podcast, and right away he was trying to sell shirts with his logo for the podcast. He hasn't even made a single episode for the podcast. So once again, focus on making stuff and stand out. It's in a world where it's very overcrowded with competition in the internet, use your local culture, use your local environment to stand out. I'm not the biggest bushcraft channel out there on YouTube, of course, but I do feel like we offer a very unique perspective in wilderness outdoor skills, whether it's, because we're talking about desert stuff or because we live down by the border in, West Texas. So there's a lot of cowboy imagery and a lot of Mexican food and green chili from New Mexico. And we've turned that around. At first I viewed that as a weakness because I wasn't where Dave Canterbury lived. Now I realize that's what makes our channel stand out. So make good stuff. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about sponsorships. Don't worry about any of that. Focus on making stuff that's going to stand out and stand the test of time, and sooner or later that you're going to get noticed. All right, anyway, question number 8, I want to say. I lost track, I apologize. Ben Durking asks, are there any plants native to the desert that look just like something edible but actually is really dangerous or deadly if consumed? There actually is. There is a plant. It's a plant, but it's mainly a fruit called the buffalo gourd, and it's in the watermelon family. They look like round little watermelons. They look so refreshing on a hot summer day. If you consume them, you could die. It is so bitter, you will vomit, you will get the runs, you will get dehydrated really fast. Some insects, like beetles that eat them, will get addicted to them and can only eat that and then will die off if they cannot eat anything else. It's weird. I've been meaning to make a video on the buffalo gourd. It is said that the seeds, if dried, are edible, but you're playing with fire here, and I don't want to give out information that I myself don't fully understand. So until I'm comfortable with that knowledge, when I'm comfortable with that experience, I'm not going to make a video till then. But I do mean to make a video on it because it can be deadly, it can be dangerous, but at the same time, it had its uses to the native tribes in the region. So I just got to crack that code because sadly they didn't leave a lot of information behind. But yes, be careful with that. It looks like a juicy watermelon during a hot summer day, but just be very careful. So question number 9 comes from Marcus Renilius, who asks, if you had your choice of camping with a stupid hot nympho girl or a survivalist shy normal girl, who would you choose? I would probably go with the nympho girl just because I'm already pretty well versed in my region, so I could be the expert on that, What about you, Cuervo?
No comment.
His girlfriend's gonna kill him.
All right, for our last question is from Instagram user named Wildfire9. Could you give me the top 5 musical influences? Doesn't matter what genre or whatever. Well, for the first one, I would have to say it would have to be Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan introduced me to a lot of roots music, Americana, blues, country, and just all around folk. I think folk music is the voice of the people in a sense, and so as he is in a generation, and just his guitar playing was amazing to me at the time. And my second one would be Dave Rawlings. He has it's like a couple thing with Gillian Welch, and just Dave is just an amazing guitar player, melodic and smooth, very triplets and singles, and it's just beautiful stuff. And I'd have to go with Johnny Cash for my third one. Just the influences he's had over my life and in the music, especially for Cuervo Negro. And was that 4? Oh, 4, right?
I think it was 3.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, shit, dude. Well, my fourth, I would have to be Jack White. There's another great influencer there. Maybe I'll get some hate for this, but he's not a very good guitar player, but what his imagination can do is a lot better than technicality, if that makes sense. And I think it makes for great entertainment if you know what to present and how to present it and how to make it sound good, rather than to get too caught up in the technicalities of it and the stuff like that. And for my last one, well, he's a kind of new guy, so I'd have to go with Culture Wall. It would have to be mostly because of his guitar playing and just the style of it, playing these old-timey cowboy music or songs, and the use of harmonicas and violins and stuff like that. I'll mention this other band too, just to get them out there. Is a band called the Lost Dog Street Band. They're really good. Check them out. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for asking. Hold on.
And Motley Crue.
Oh yeah, the Crew.
So that's about the long and short of it, guys. We're about done with these questions. Thank you so much for all the love, the support, all the questions. Thank you for joining us out here in our adventures. Now we're just going to enjoy the fire, get a good buzz, and just camp out and enjoy nature. So we're camping out. We're filming some good stuff, so stay tuned for that. And that's about it for us, guys. So if you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Comment down below or ask us a question, and we may answer it in a future Q&A video. And that's about it for us, guys. So we'll see you guys next week with another video. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.